I do? Where do I look? I do.
Hello. It's the Becky and Boca Show coming to you live from downtown Boca Raton. And we have my first guest here. I'm going to get to her in a minute. It's Dr. Daniela Dodorian. But before that, I want to tell you that you can listen to us on 1470 AM, 1470 AM on the iHeart app. And this is also live streaming to my Facebook page, BeckyinBoca. And I want to tell you about a big event that I'm having next week. It's at Clive Daniel, which is a beautiful Boca Raton furniture showroom. And I'm going to have some people from Clive Daniel on here tonight as my second guests. And it's October 27th at 6 p.m. Dr. Dorian will be at that event. And if you're interested in coming, you have to send me an email at BeckyinBoca@gmail.com. And I would like to say that my makeup was done by Ivy Lee's Makeup Lounge. They do my makeup for every show. They're wonderful, right in downtown Boca Raton. And my clothes are from Serendipity. Serendipity Style follows this show every Thursday night. So, my guest is Dr. Daniela Dodorian. She is a cosmetic doctor. She has two practices. One is in West Palm Beach and one is out on the island in Palm Beach. So, Daniela, can you tell us a little bit about your practice?
Yes, I have a cosmetic and anti-aging practice. My initial background was in internal medicine. And really, there were two life-changing events in 2001 for me when, first of all, Botox got FDA approved for cosmetic purposes. And the same year, also, my father died of lung cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So at that point, I really didn't want to deal with chronically ill patients anymore. And at the same time, I had a huge internal medicine practice, and my female patients trusted me, and then they wanted my opinion on Botox. And they would ask me, why don't you do it? Why don't you learn it? I'd rather come to you. And the more I started looking into it, it was fun. It became a happy thing, and it was very interesting. And that's really how my practice took over and transitioned from traditional internal medicine to preventative anti-aging and cosmetic, minimally invasive cosmetic medicine.
So do you do regular internal medicine still as well? Or is your
Not
practice...
anymore. It's more really preventative and anti-aging medicine.
Preventative and anti-aging. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the preventative medicine.
Well, the idea is that you integrate traditional medicine with other components, holistic medicine. So the idea is really that instead of treating chronically ill patients and treating symptoms, you try to keep people healthy and try to prevent them from getting ill.
So they don't get sick in the first place.
Yes.
And I know you do a wide array of cosmetic procedures.
I do.
All
I
minimally
love
invasive,
them.
though, right? You
Minimally
don't do any
invasive.
surgery.
The most invasive thing I do is laser liposuction. That's the absolutely most invasive thing I do.
Okay, and what is that exactly?
You do make a small incision under local anesthesia, tumescent anesthesia, and you melt fat right under the skin with a laser.
With a laser?
With a laser. It's very effective in melting fat and also tightening skin. And then the only part that is like traditional liposuction is that you actually suction out the molten fat.
Oh, wow. So you
Yes.
melt it and suck it.
Yes.
That sounds pretty effective then.
It is.
So
It is.
Okay, and
It
then
works
you say
well.
there's a skin tightening component to it also?
Yes, because it's a laser, so by heat it really stimulates skin tightening.
Oh, wow.
I prefer it to a traditional liposuction because with traditional liposuction you don't really get much of a skin tightening
Right, I
effect.
was wondering about that. So what parts of the body can you use
Pretty
this on?
much wherever there's fat, from chin fat to arms to
Oh,
bellies, muffin tops, bra strap fat that women hate.
Okay, and
saddlebags.
what, is there any downtime with this?
You do have to wear a compression garment, a surgical garment, for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
The first week you have to wear it 24 hours a day, and then the second week 12 hours a day.
So what if you have it on your neck? You have to wear
But for that, it's really not bad at all. You just wear a chin sling for 24 hours, and
Oh,
I
that's
take
nothing.
it off 24 hours later and just put a little Band-Aid on the
Oh,
small little
That's
incision site.
fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, so for that, you just have to hide for 24 hours.
Yes.
Right? Okay, that's not bad at all. Now, I've done a couple of videos with you. One was on, I think, Venus Legacy.
Yes.
Are you still doing Venus Legacy in your
Yes,
practice?
absolutely, yes.
You can see that video on my YouTube channel, Becky and Boca. And explain the Venus Legacy.
Venus Legacy, it's a radio frequency wavelength. It's a very comfortable treatment. It feels like a warm massage. And through heat, it really stimulates the layer that's responsible for tightening and collagen production in the skin to tighten and produce collagen. That process takes up to 6 months, though. So really the absolute end result of the Venus Legacy you see 6 months later. And ideally, each body part, whatever might be treated, should require at least 6 treatments to see optimal results.
Okay. So it takes a while for that to kick in. And I imagine that's a problem for a lot of people because we want
Yes, it is.
instant gratification. Yes. Okay, you graduated from the University of Miami School of Medicine.
Yes.
And you're an MD. Okay. You're board certified in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. So in the anti-aging, we're talking about all of the facial injectables? You do everything?
Anti-aging is more the functional medicine.
Oh, okay.
Hormone replacement, supplements,
yes. Tell
nutrition.
us about that, because I know that just about everybody I know is doing some kind of, men and women, some kind of hormone replacement.
Yes, very important. Really, I've never known how important it was until I got to that age myself.
Yeah.
But hormone replacement is very, very important in men and women. And really, many times, even in women, the testosterone gets very low even before we enter menopause.
I do know a couple women that are on a little bit of testosterone.
Yes, it
and
makes a very
they
big
look
difference.
great.
It makes a very big difference in terms of muscle
What
mass.
does it do? Muscle, okay.
Brain fog, difficulty sleeping at night, anxiety.
Is there a problem? I mean, you have to keep the dosage pretty low, I would imagine, or there's issues with it.
We're trying to do it as scientifically as possible. So we first check hormone levels. And really the target testosterone level for a woman should be 200 and 250. And what I do is pellet therapy. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
You put pellets under the skin?
Exactly.
Okay.
And the rationale behind that, actually, pellet therapy has been around since 1939 in Europe. So it's not a new concept at all. It's been very well established, very well
What's the
established.
reason for doing it that way instead of orally?
The reason behind that is that you get an even daily delivery according to your activity level. When you insert the little pellets in your subcutaneous fat, you form new little blood vessels around those pellets, and the hormones get delivered on a daily basis as opposed to injections or patches or creams or pills.
How
where you
long
get a
does
roller
one
coaster
pellet
effect.
last?
In women, it lasts about 3 to 4 months.
Oh, wow.
And in men, about 5 to 6 months.
Oh, so you have to go in very infrequently for that.
Yes.
And, okay, tell me what it does for women, because I know some women that do this and they just look amazing.
What it does for women is definitely increases the libido.
Yeah, okay. That would be good.
It gives them more energy.
Yeah.
It makes them sleep better. It alleviates anxiety. A lot of times, the ironic thing is that women start approaching menopause and their hormones go down and they start getting anxiety, they start getting depression, and they go to their doctor and they're put on medications for anxiety and depression. Meanwhile, they're also complaining about weight gain. Now they're being put on this antidepressants and they put on even more weight, and then they get even more depressed. And it's really a vicious cycle when really, truly, what they're missing is their hormones. And if their hormones would be optimized, they would feel so much better.
Is it just testosterone, or are you talking about a combination?
Well, it
hormones?
depends. It depends. So many women in their even early 40s missed only testosterone because they still have enough estrogen. They're still menstruating. So in that case, they would just get testosterone alone. But as women approach menopause, they would need both estrogen and testosterone.
And how long can you keep them on these hormones?
Really indefinitely. Of course, we have to be very careful with checking mammograms and pap smears every year, just as usual.
We do that anyway. Why, is there a danger to it?
Well, theoretically, there's always a danger of estrogen increasing the risk of breast cancer. But in pellet form, estrogen does not get metabolized by the liver, so it never gets converted, just like oral estrogens, to the deleterious type of estrogen, which is called estrone. So in pellet form, it never gets converted to the bad type of estrogen.
So that means it's safer than the
It's definitely safer.
Now, back to the testosterone. I've known people that get it in cream form. and
Again,
rub
you
it
get
in.
a roller coaster effect. The problem with creams is you never really know how much you're applying
Right,
exactly.
I would think so.
And then you have
And some days you want to put more on, maybe.
yes, then you have a huge peak when you apply it, then it goes down to nothing, and you
Right.
really go up and down like a roller coaster. It's also an issue when you apply it to your skin and you're around children or your spouse or animals. They will be really given to them transdermally.
What that would do to my dog. Okay. Okay, so tell us about the facial injectables that you do, the things that someone can just come into your office. And if you're not familiar with where Palm Beach is in relation to Boca Raton, it's a 20-minute drive right up the road. And we all love to go to Palm Beach from Boca. Gorgeous there, do a little shopping. And I always like to take the beach route and go up A1A right along the beach, right by the
that's
Trump
beautiful.
mansion and all the beautiful homes. So it's no problem getting up to see you from Boca. And I know you have a lot of patients that come from Boca.
Yes.
And what we like to go up there and do are the things that you can do to our faces with injectables that make us look so much younger. I mean, it's amazing. If you haven't done Botox and fillers, I don't know what you're waiting for. Sometimes people say, I don't want to put those things in my face. So can you tell us a little bit about the safety of those injectables?
The injectables are like a hyaluronic acid. They are synthetic sugars. They are really, so far I've been injecting hyaluronic acid for 16 years. I've never seen anybody have a allergic reaction.
And that's something that's in your body anyway, right?
Yes, it's really in our joint fluids.
Okay.
And you can even dissolve it if you don't like it. That's the best part of it. I mean, not that I've had to do it very many times, but for whatever reason, it's reassuring to patients, especially
If it's
when
the first
they do
time.
it the first
Yes.
time, that it could be dissolved in case they don't like it.
I do know people that did the cheek injections, but they were so scared before doing it. What if I don't like the way it looks?
Right.
And then when they found out that it could be dissolved, none of
Exactly.
them had it dissolved because they
Exactly.
absolutely loved it.
Exactly.
But they like knowing that, I guess. How do you dissolve it if you want to?
There is an enzyme. It's a hyaluronidase, an enzyme that dissolves hyaluronic acid, and it's injected right into the area where the hyaluronic acid is, and it pretty much dissolves by the next day.
So your cheeks go back to normal.
Exactly.
And that is one of the things I would recommend everybody do. The Voluma, and is that what you
Yes.
use, Voluma?
I love Voluma. Voluma is the thickest of all hyaluronic acids, and it's specifically designed for mid-face to build up cheekbones and the mid-face. And there you want something that's really thick and sturdy that pulls up the face and keeps it up. It actually lasts 2 to 3 years. So
Yeah, you did it on me a little over a year
wonderful-
ago, I think, and I absolutely love it.
Yes.
She can actually create cheekbones on a
Yes.
person, and it makes such a difference because it pulls up the whole lower part of the face.
Yes.
And, you see a lot of women our age that start to look hollow in the face.
Yes,
I
and
mean, I
it's
can
a
walk down the
tired
street and
look.
like, she needs it, she needs it, she needs it.
Yes.
And I don't know why people aren't doing it, because it is something that instantaneously can take years off your face, and everybody looks better with a little volume in the face.
Absolutely.
So
I love it. I feel like I'm sculpting faces.
now, yeah, you are. Now people are afraid it's going to hurt, and I didn't feel it at all.
It's a little needle stick. I mean, it's as far as pain is concerned, it's not really one of the most painful things that you can imagine.
I didn't think it was painful at all, and I don't even remember. Did you anesthetize me first, or
No.
you just used?
No, actually, most of the fillers have lidocaine in them. Mm-hmm. So really, as you start injecting, probably the first needle stick would be the most intense one. But as you start injecting, the lidocaine
'Cause it's
takes
in there.
over, and
Okay.
it gets really easier and easier.
Okay. Now, can you give us an idea of cost, because people need to know that what they're going to pay for something
Voluma?
like that?
Well, again, everybody is an individual, and everybody has different needs, and it depends how many syringes they need, and they have to be evaluated in a free consultation first. But a syringe probably runs around $900 to $1,000.
And then I don't remember how much you put in me. You probably don't
I
either.
don't
That was
remember.
that
I
was a
don't
while
remember.
ago.
But I'm sure it wasn't that much because you have great cheeks.
Well, thank you. But and it lasted. I mean, I think
Yes.
it's still in there.
It's still in
and
there.
So that's one of the that's what ladies and maybe men, if you really want to do something to change your face. Well, I would say Botox, fillers, and Voluma. Those three,
Yes.
right? And then
Absolutely.
you also do lip fillers.
Yes, I love to do lip fillers.
That can make a big difference, too.
People are so afraid of doing their lips.
Because they see these people walking around with the big bubble
I
lips. We all
know.
see them. Those are the bad. I always tell people those are the bad cases. That's why you
right.
notice them. The people with the pretty lips, you just think
Exactly.
those are their
You think
lips.
they are natural, and many times they're not natural. They're just done right. That's
Yeah,
one
I
of
think
my,
probably most women our age that have really nice lips, they've had their lips done.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's one of my most favorite thing to do because I feel it's underlooked. Even if people think that they don't have small lips, it's not really to enlarge their lips. It's really to replace the volume that's lost, to hydrate the lips. You know how women start getting their lips looking wrinkly and deflated?
And thin. Our lips
Yes,
just
but
start to get
it's
thinner and
just
thinner.
to replace what they're missing, not necessarily to make them bigger than they
You're
are.
just taking it back to the way they looked when they were younger.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the misconception that people have. They see these people. We've all seen them. You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about. The big Donald Duck. When you look on the side, you see like
Yes.
the ridge. And those are just examples of bad doctors, bad injections.
Right.
And I can't really blame the doctors because a lot of times the women say, I want more. But when lips are done right,
Yes.
it's fantastic.
Yes. I
Okay,
love
so-
doing lips. There's also a great new filler out there. It just came out about a week ago. Mm-hmm. It's called Volbella. It's also made
Volbella?
by Volbella.
Okay.
It's also made by Allergan, but it's for vertical lip lines. You know how women sometimes have those
On
little
top of
vertical
the
lip
lips.
lines, or
Yeah.
smoker, also
Smoker's
called
lips.
smokers lines.
Yeah, even if they
Yes.
didn't smoke.
And there you don't want to put anything thick because that's when you get the duck
Yep.
lip. When you put a thick filler, it actually lifts the entire tissue up and gives you that really thick look. So they came up with a very thin hyaluronic acid, which
So
is
it's a
Volbella.
filler.
It's a filler, but it's very thin so that you can really very efficiently fill in superficial lines without making that duck look.
Okay, well, right. We need to give some prices because I know people are always telling me, I talk about these things, but I don't tell them how
Volbella,
much
I
they're.
believe, I'm not quite sure yet because it hasn't been released. I think it will be released this week, but I believe it will run about $400 or $500 a syringe,
Okay, and how?
and it lasts for about a year.
A year, okay. So what about lip injections if you're going to
Lip
inject?
injections, my favorite is Juvederm Ultra Plus. Again, it's another hyaluronic acid of intermediate thickness between Volbella and Voluma. And it lasts about a year. It's very volumizing, yet very natural looking if you inject it right.
Right, and believe me, it's all in the skill of the injector.
Absolutely.
That's probably 95% of this. And Dr. Dodorian is very good. I've done a couple videos with her. You can go look on my BeckyinBoca YouTube channel. And you did my cheeks. I love them. So I would say for somebody that hasn't done this before, that just wants to go in and try some facial injectables, what would you recommend starting with?
Again, it depends on the person.
On
It
what their issue
It
is.
depends what their issue is.
Yeah.
You know, I always like in a consultation, I'd like to find out first what bothers them, and then if they're interested, I will tell them what I see on them because sometimes it's two different things: what really bothers them and what I see.
Right. Okay. I know the first time I ever went for this sort of thing, I did Botox, of course, and a little bit of filler right in here. And I got to tell you, that's something you don't really have to do that often.
Right.
That lasts
Especially if you do cheeks, because when you do
It pulls
cheeks,
it up.
it pulls everything up. It pulls up the nasolabial folds, what you described.
Right.
Also the marionette lines that make you look sad.
the ones from down here. And the lips, when we get old, all these things happen when we get older, but the lips start to turn down. And you
Yes.
can turn them up,
Yes,
right?
you can.
Okay,
Again,
how
with
do
the
you do
filler.
that with the filler?
You inject in the corner of the lip, the lower lip, and it very nicely, like magic, turns
Yeah,
out.
no,
the
that's
corner of the
another
lip.
amazing thing. People don't realize it, but if you look at older people, women especially, the lips just start to turn down and they look sad and depressed. And just these little injections in the corners there lift it right up.
Yes.
That's amazing to me. So the first time I ever did anything, I did Botox and filled right here. Then I went back later and I did some Voluma and the cheeks and all that stuff together. You know, I go about every 6 months. It can really make you look and feel better without looking done.
Exactly.
You know?
That's the whole idea, to
Right.
look natural.
And it's all the skill
Just to
of the
turn back the clock a little bit and bring you back to where you were, not change your face or make you look crazy. Just
Right.
turn back the clock a little bit and make you look more rested, maybe. Refreshed.
Do you have anything for the neck? Everybody I know complains about
Well,
saggy neck.
that's two different things for the neck. Yule therapy, it's an ultrasound technology.
Yes, that's very.
It's very effective in tightening the neck. Or the laser liposuction, that works very well too.
Okay, what if there's not a lot of fat under there, just saggy skin?
That works well.
Not that I'm talking about anybody we know.
It works very well just using the component that tightens the skin as opposed to melt
that's
fat.
interesting.
Yes.
So you can just go in there and tighten the skin with
Yes.
it. So you make a little incision,
You
said?
make a very tiny incision, a 2 millimeter incision, and again, anesthetize with local anesthesia, lidocaine, and tighten the skin with a laser.
So you're kind of warming up the skin from the inside?
Exactly. You
Okay.
stimulate tightening by heat.
That's interesting.
You're kind of tricking the dermal layer into thinking that there's an injury. And whenever there's an injury, the repair cascade is set off, which consists of shrinkage, tightening,
Okay.
and producing collagen.
And what's the cost on that?
The laser liposuction for the chin and neck ranges between $2,500 to $3,500.
Okay, and is that a permanent thing? Like once you do it, you don't have to do it
Well,
again?
of course, you're going to continue to age.
No, we're not going to age anymore after that. You got to guarantee me that it stops there.
You're going to continue to age. So really, the way to look at it is wherever you're going to end up, because it takes 6 months to see the end result. Wherever you're going to end up 6 months later, it just doesn't wear off like fillers or Botox. It's just you're going to continue to age
Right.
from there on.
So you might want to do it again at another point in the future.
At some point,
if you liked
yes.
it. But yes, all of this stuff is continuing, and people do complain about that. You know, Botox and fillers, you have to go back and do them again. I'm like, so what? You have to go to the gym every day.
That's
you can't
right.
stop going to the gym. Yes, it's going to be part of our routine forever. But, you know, you keep your body in shape and get a face to go along with it and you feel a lot better, look a lot better. It's wonderful. Anything else new that you have besides the...
Yes, sculpture. It's a laser that's very effective in melting fat and tightening skin, non-invasively.
Okay.
So I think many of you are familiar with cool sculpting. Have you heard of cool
Yes.
sculpting? Freezing fat. So I had cool sculpting before. And what I didn't, everything I do, everything I have and I offer to my patients, I have to try it on myself and I have to like it and I have to believe in it. When I tried cool sculpting on myself, it was effective in getting rid of fat, but I did it on my abdomen and then it left behind a whole bunch of loose skin after it melted the
okay.
fat. So
Yeah,
I
that's
really
not
didn't
good.
like that. And it makes sense because it's a freezing device. So really it freezes fat effectively, but then what happens to the skin? So many times
Exactly.
you end up with loose skin. So as of last year, no, actually not last year, this February, Cynosure, the laser company Cynosure, came up with this laser that's called Sculpture. And the idea is the same as cool sculpting, that non-invasively you get rid of fat, but it's exactly the opposite. Instead of freezing the fat, they use a laser that non-invasively, you just basically place this laser on the outside of your skin.
Is that the thing I saw that goes across the abdomen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. And up to 4 lasers, up to 4 applicators takes 25 minutes. You just basically sit there for 25 minutes and you feel heat. That heat melts fat, but also at the same time tightens the skin very effectively.
And does it take a while to see that too?
Yes, because it's completely non-invasively, so that fat has to be eliminated somehow. It gets eliminated through the
Right.
lymphatic system.
You're not sucking it out. It's okay.
Exactly. It gets eliminated through the lymphatic system, so you basically pee it out over a period of 8 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
The expectation is the same as with cool sculpting. Whatever you pinch, the pinchable bulge of fat, whatever you can pinch, up to 25% of that bulge will be reduced with one treatment.
Oh, wow. So do you do multiple treatments?
You can
I
do
want to get rid of all of
multiple-
it.
Yes, you can do multiple treatments, but you have to wait 8 to 12 weeks to see the results.
I see, to
and
see
then
where
you
you
can,
are.
You can
Okay,
repeat it.
real quickly, the price on that.
It depends. It depends on how many applications. That's very hard to assess.
Okay.
You know, that's definitely a procedure where a patient has to come. I have to see them and fit them with these different sizes of applicators to see exactly what they need. Because truly,
Okay.
everybody has a different body, and everybody needs to be assessed for that.
Right. Okay. Can you give us a ballpark?
Well, one applicator probably ranges between $400, I believe it is.
Okay.
So it depends how many
many you need.
applicators you need.
Okay. And I want you to give us the names of your two practices, the address, and your phone number in case anyone out there wants to.
So my
see
website
you.
is drdadorian.com.
Okay.
I have a practice, and that shows both practices, but I have a practice in West Palm Beach, 320 South Quadrille Boulevard. Mm-hmm. And my other practice is in Palm Beach, 340 Royal Ponziana Plaza, Suite 340.
Okay. And if someone wants to give you a call to make an appointment?
My phone number is 561-655-6325.
Okay. And ladies in Boca Raton, go up A1A, go see Dr. Dadurian out there on the island. It's gorgeous. And then go shopping. It's a wonderful day. That's like a good day out.
It is.
So anything else you want to tell us before we go?
No.
Okay. So your biggest practice, the bigger one is in West Palm, downtown.
Yes.
On Quadrille.
My
I've been
bigger
there.
practice is there. It's 4,200 square feet.
And then you've got that nice one out on the island.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
And like I said, ladies, anybody wants to try any of this stuff out, I don't know what you're waiting for. Head on up to Palm Beach and see Dr. Dadurian.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Serendipity Consignment Boutique is unlike any other consignment shop you have ever seen. Lisa has the most beautiful and immaculate designer bags, clothes, shoes, and accessories. It's a designer candy store. So go check out Serendipity Consignment Boutique, Glades Plaza, 2200 Glades Road, Boca Raton, or visit their website at consignmentboca.com.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.TV.
You're watching and listening to The BeckyinBoca Show about all the fun and glamorous things available in Boca Raton. And now, back to the show. This is the second half of the BeckyinBoca Show, and I have swapped out my doctor for two new guests. I have Lori Mutabaya. She's the manager of Clive Daniel Home. And I have Marla Jaffe. She's the director of business development for Clive Daniel Home. And the reason I brought them in is I'm doing a big BeckyinBoca event there next week. And it's going to be the event of the season. I promise you, ladies.
We figured that out.
We're sure. It's going to be fantastic. It's Thursday, October 27th at 6 p.m. It is by invitation only, so if you want to go, you have to send me an email at BeckyinBoca@gmail.com, and we'll talk. So that night is going to be spectacular. My guests are going to come up the escalators there to the second floor, and we're going to be streaming this show live with lights and camera and everything right there. And we're going to have a bar, and we're going to have hors d'oeuvres, and I have all sorts of people there. I have 4 doctors that I'm going to have there. Dr. Daniela Dadurian, the one that just left, and I have Dr. Jason Green. He is a cosmetic dermatologist as well as a regular dermatologist. And I have Dr. Christopher Pittman coming from Tampa. He is going to demonstrate hand vein injections. And let me tell you, that is spectacular because there are only a few people in the country that do it. And he did my veins about a year and a half ago. And I used to have huge, bulging hand veins. And now my hands look just like they did in college. It is the most exciting, most thrilling thing. And it's a little tiny needle like a hair. So it doesn't hurt or anything. It's amazing. Anyway, we're going to demonstrate that at the event. And then I have Dr. Amanda Sindeldecker coming too. She is a cosmetic dentist. And she was on my show last week. She does tooth whitening and cosmetic dental work, as well as all the facial injectables. So the whole idea is I put my guests in front of these doctors to talk with them and mingle and figure out what they do and if they want to do anything without all the pressure of making an appointment and going in to see the doctor and all that. And we have other things there. We have Lisa with her handbags, the one Lisa from Serendipity. Her show follows mine. She's going to be there selling designer handbags. And we have the girls from Ivy Lee's Beauty Lounge doing makeovers. We have reflexology foot massage. We have hair extensions, all sorts of stuff. So if you want to hear about that, send me an email, BeckyinBoca@gmail.com. Okay, now we're going to talk to my guests. I guess we will start with Lori. You're the manager of Clive Daniel.
I am.
And the store just opened up a few months ago. Correct?
On actually January 29th. We broke ground in October, put the building up, and we moved in, and we haven't stopped going since. It's been crazy.
It's only a few blocks from my house, and I was driving past there the whole time they were putting that up, and I'm like, what is that going to be? It's the most huge, magnificent structure, and it's absolutely fabulous. It kind of rivals the Dakota down in Davie in like the size and the amount of things that you have there, and every time I go in there, I want everything. So
we have to come back in again. We just redid the whole store, so we have all new everything. Oh. So it's really exciting. We're ready for fall. We're ready for everybody to come back from the north, and it's really some stunning pieces that have been selected just for us.
And you have really everything. Happy. I mean, you have outdoor patio.
We do.
You have a contemporary section. You have bedrooms. You have, and you can also. You have a whole design area where you can design your kitchen and bathroom and everything else.
Yeah,
right?
We always say that you can design. We can do anything from your mailbox to your swimming pool, and
it's
we
incredible.
really can.
Yeah,
we have great designers. We have people who have been in town for many, many years. We have people from Miami, people from West Palm. So we pretty much cover the expanse of the coast, and really people have great reputations. And we have Marla, who has a great reputation
let's
in
ask
town.
Marla about your role there. You're the director of development. So explain what that means.
Because my job basically is to be in the community, networking, putting the brand of Clive Daniel throughout South Florida. I cover Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward.
Oh, okay.
So
you're getting the word out that you're there and that people can come in.
Right. My job, the primary focus is to try and engage realtors, builders, and developers through, excuse me, I have a little frog in my throat.
That's all right.
Through a realtor program that we have.
I sat in your office yesterday while you talked to some realtors, and that program was very impressive.
It's very exciting, and also my experience over the years, in the past almost, I hate to say 40 years, designing down in South Florida, has given me the opportunity to know many, many people. So I'm tapping into that network that I already had, and I'm making new friends every single day, like meeting you and doing event planning.
You know what I found impressive when I was listening to you talk, when you were talking about if somebody is building a house, if a builder is building a house,
correct,
whether they show it empty or whether they show it furnished.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about
Absolutely.
that? About how much more quickly they
Absolutely.
sell?
One of the most interesting things is when I met Daniel, who is the son, Clive and Daniel. Daniel is the son, Clive is the
Okay,
dad.
so Clive and they have another store in Naples,
yes,
right?
Correct. 85,000 square feet in Naples. We are 70,000 square feet here in Boca.
Okay.
So when I met Daniel, because I had my own interior design business for almost 40 years, he initially brought me over to be a consultant with the store over in Naples, and then introduced me to Lori. And remember that day when you were talking to
and
me?
were you in Naples also, Lori?
No, actually, I moved from New York to take the job. I worked for Clive and Daniel in our other life as Robin Stuckey, and
that's right. Okay,
yeah.
Tell us about that. They were Robin Stuckey, and there used to be a Robin Stuckey right here in Boca Raton in Meisner Park.
One of the most successful stores in the chain was at Meisner.
Yeah, that was a great store.
It was a great.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful.
Sorry
store.
to see that. And why did it leave?
Well, honestly, I Daniel hates it when I say this, but there was a hostile takeover. You know, that's the world of business these
Right.
days. Somebody identified us as a really good brand, and there was a hostile takeover, and,
my
we lost the
goodness.
company. We were a very successful company. And,
know that.
and so for all of us, it was like the worst thing. But what kind of came out of that was Clive Daniel Home, which is this rebirth of
it's
style
better.
and
It's
design.
better.
It really
Let me
is.
tell you.
It really is.
Yes, it is.
And it's so fresh. And the visionary that Clive Lubner is when it comes to furniture and design, he really revolutionized how people do design. He's the first person who ever did lifestyles in a store. So now he's just kind of taken that to another level. And for all of us, we have many people in the store who worked for Robin Stuckey, and then we have new people like Marla. So it's a nice mix of people.
Oh, okay.
And it
what
really
were all
makes
those people doing in the interim? I know
Well, I worked. You know, I'm
it disappeared and
Yeah.
then it came back as.
yeah. I
Okay.
moved to New York, and I lived in New York, and my husband said this is the last place
Were
he's
you
moving.
here in the?
Actually, I
Robin
was in
Stuckey
Las
store?
Vegas. I was in
Oh,
their
okay.
Las Vegas store. So,
Okay.
and they asked me to come back and run this store, so I did. And we've just done great.
Do they only have the 2 stores?
right now?
Yeah. Oh.
Eventually, there will be more, but right now, just 2.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Marla, you were talking about putting furniture in a home to sell it,
Correct.
and I was
So-
thinking, wow.
Well, the really interesting thing is, in my position, because I have such a strong design background, one of the, I guess, attributes, according to Daniel, Clive, Lori, and especially.
Nice to know that it's actually owned by
Yeah,
father and
when
son.
We all talk to each
met,
other every day, pretty much,
They
yeah.
really
Personal.
said to me, Marla, you would be a great fit as the director of business development. I'm very social. I know
you are, yes.
I know. It's kind of to a fault sometimes. It's like it's
No,
okay.
no,
just
it's great.
Just tell me it's okay to be quiet. But on the serious side, I take my position very, very seriously because I know the language of the builder. I know the language of the developers, and I know the language of the interior designer and the end user, which is ultimately going to be the buyer. So
Right.
I remember, I grew up in retail also. My dad had stores, and sometimes you have to know that you may not like everything you're selecting, but there's someone for everything.
But if you're trying to sell a house,
That's right. That's the
do you-
challenge.
yeah.
You have to come to a neutral place.
Exactly.
Where you create a nice palette. I always said, I look at interior design kind of like a painting. I say you cannot have a good foreground without a good background. Okay, which means so you've got to lay the foundation. The foundation is when you look at a floor plan and you look at an empty home, is the space, and the space dictates how furniture should be placed. There's more than one way to place furniture,
Yeah.
but as a designer, you learn the best way to place the furniture. If it's a builder that has a view, you want to make sure that the furniture is facing so that
Right,
the
sure.
builder shows off what that piece of property properly. But I always say you've got to have the wow factor. You have to have that when you walk in the door, someone's going to walk in and emotionally get connected to that home. So you start off with some neutral things, but how you finish it off beyond just a staging. A staging is a placement of some furniture in to show how rooms flow. But when you design a home,
because you were
much more
talking
involved.
about a lot of the builders now will buy the furniture,
Correct.
and put it in the home, and the
That's
furniture
the
goes
best
with
way.
the home.
Yes, that's the best way because when you engage in a design team to do a nice interior design project for a spec home, what you're doing is creating that whole emotional appeal that we're going to create so that when the end user, the buyer, will walk in, they're going to say, I have to have it just like that. They don't really want to.
I'd be ready to
change out.
chuck all my old furniture and
Exactly.
move right
And
in.
they can. And,
Yeah.
and the beautiful
Imagine
part
how nice
that's
that would
right.
be.
But the beautiful part of Clive Daniel, as opposed to a smaller interior design firm doing a model like what I was, is when the client comes in and buys the home, it's very hard for a small design firm to say, oh, I'll exchange a couple of pieces out here and there so you can put your personal take on it. With Clive Daniel, because of our background, because of the volume that we have, we're able to say to the buyer, if you'd like to take a piece and more personalize it, you could take, pick a couple of pieces and we're happy to exchange them out.
So you can swap
ultimately.
it out if it's not
And-
exactly what you want.
Yeah, so we're able to give a situation, present a situation to a builder that's unlike most.
And you obviously homes sell much quicker if there's.
They are statistically, when we go in and do a model, I call it a model, not a stage. When we go in and do a model, we could sell, that house could sell within a week, it could sell within a month, and maybe go a few months, but it's very unlikely it's going to sit unpurchased
So
for
these
you.
big intracoastal homes that these builders are putting up in Boca Raton as spec homes, if they don't sell those quickly, they're carrying that home.
That's correct,
for
and
a
it's
period of months.
costly.
Very costly, and I know the insurances you have
And
to
that's
carry
a
her.
good point because when you stage, the money that you spend to stage a home, when the buyer buys it, the part of the selling technique was, well, we'll take the home, the furniture back, and you just basically rented it, but you've taken that money that you're spending on that furniture to hold it and stage the home, and you're really, it's not giving you an end profit. So when you do the model and you own the furniture,
You own the furniture.
That's right. You're not renting the furniture. Staging, you're renting basically.
Right.
Model, you're owning. If the builder owns furniture, a lot of these builders are building multiple homes, so they're able to take that furniture if they would like. And Lori and I have discussed this a lot of times. We will take that furniture, put it in our warehouse. We have a warehouse. Wrap it. It's nice and clean. They can use it again. Or that
And then
home
do you
sells
go back
furniture.
into the next home and
Sure,
tell them where to put it?
of
Yeah,
course.
because I would.
Sure,
yeah,
the whole idea is develop this relationship
With
so
the
that
builders.
They
Exactly.
feel, it's all relationship based. But if they sell the home furnished, touche. I mean, you got a win-win right there.
Right. I would imagine that you would be very valuable to builders because you see these huge, magnificent homes, and if there's anything that can
And
them
I
sell-
like to say that most builders, a lot of us have had these conversations. Not, to a fault, everyone's home is wonderful. Everyone's home is special. Everyone's home is perfect. But a good designer will realize that there's a lot of imperfections in many of these
you
homes.
see my house.
And that's one of the reasons why they don't sell that fast. And
Right.
a great designer, good designer, great teamwork with the builder, hearing what they need. We're going to go in there. We're going to give it that wow factor so that people don't really see the flaws as much as they see the benefit of buying that home.
And we are very creative in how we do business, how with the builder, and we're also, our folks are very creative also. But how we can, move things around, maneuver things around. We are trying to build a relationship. We're not interested in kind of getting in there and getting out.
Right.
We'd like to work with someone over and over again. And honestly, we'd like to be there from the beginning so that they can have the right backgrounds,
Right,
they
so
can
you
have
can
the
tell
right
them how to-
tile and all that sort of thing, because it's key to selling a home. So.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And I would think that would be an asset to any builder.
Part of the realtor program, when I'm developing these relationships with the realtors and getting them to understand, when, especially on the east side, where so many homes were very, very Tuscanized, very,
Yep,
very
there was
heavily
that.
designed, right? Transitioning them into being more current.
What is the
is
trend
really
now?
hard.
If you're
Coastal. I mean, a lot of people come to Florida and they want to feel like they're here. Especially if you live in Manhattan or you live in Long Island. There's, it gets very gray at certain times of the year. So you want to come here and there's a more light feeling. And for so long, everything was so Mediterranean that people have
all
completely
those
turned
big
away from
homes
that.
on the water.
Yeah, so we see very light colors. That's really where we are now. A lot of grays and different tones of gray and that sort of thing. And Marla's way more educated about this than I am.
Is it
but
contemporary furniture or?
Well, here's the interesting.
Not necessarily. Not
And
necessarily.
There's always a client for everything. And in our store, I mean, if they don't exactly see something, we will be able to provide it for them. But one of the key things for me, because I also taught interior design for a while, and it's critically important to understand scale and balance and proportion.
Absolutely.
And when you go through Clive Daniel, it's been so cleverly well done in that when you walk into a lot of spaces being created right now are smaller spaces, not necessarily, and some people are downsizing. So what happens, the furniture's scaled so that it's not overkill, it's not overstuffed, so you can enjoy your space. Your eye not only goes over the sofa or over the occasional chairs to take in the view outside, and it wraps you right back into the space.
that's interesting.
So it's a very, design is strategic, and you have to play every piece properly so that that room feels that way, so that when you walk into a space, you just know when a space feels good.
Yeah,
It's because it's
sure.
proportionally done.
Right.
It's,
I like the scale aspect. That's
it's very.
that's where
it's
my
a
house
lot
goes
of
wrong.
fun. It's a lot of fun to break rules. There's certain rules that can be broken, but the rules of balance in a room and scale in a room and proportion are critically important to the success of a space.
It's amazing that you know all that, and what a difference that could make to buyer that walks in that doesn't know about this, but just looks at a room that you've
Yeah.
created.
Exactly.
Well, even we have a designer on staff who does geriatric design. So
Geriatric design.
as people grow older,
Oh, wow.
well, how do you deal with that? And none of us want to get older, but at some point you have to kind of deal with it. We have a person that specializes in that.
Well,
Yes.
what?
So-
She's
Explain that a little
certified.
bit to me.
It's kind of funny because she has a little kit that she uses, and there are glasses because as you age, you can't differentiate, color as well and all that sort of thing. So they have all these tools that they use, how you're able to grab onto things, and so they have created all these products that help deal with someone who wants to age in their home
But
and stay
doesn't
there.
look like you're walking into a
That's
nursing
right.
home.
That's right.
What
That's
a
right.
brilliant idea!
It really
for
is. It's
South
amazing.
Florida.
Yeah.
And she's CAP certified, which is,
Oh,
you
wow.
get certified in ADA and barrier free, which I'm also licensed in ADA and barrier free design because it's aging in place with dignity and grace.
like
So you can actually use an interior designer, recreate your space, renovate your bathrooms and your kitchen to accommodate you for accessibility. And also, it also affects young people too.
Sure.
When you go in, I'll never forget when I was in college. My thesis, I had to do handicap in a wheelchair for 2 weeks and then blind for 2 weeks, and we all go through these
wow.
processes. And then one of my clients actually survived an airplane crash, and she was a quadriplegic.
Oh my!
And I had to design her home for accessibility, and she didn't want to leave it, but she wanted it beautiful.
Right. You don't want it to
That's
look
right.
like.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't want it to be sad. You want
No.
them to be
Right.
happy in their
Absolutely.
space, So
Right.
and we know how to handle all of that.
So,
sort
are you
of thing.
talking about like things that people can grab onto,
Yes,
the railings that don't
absolutely.
look like those metal?
Everything is designed.
Or even something as simple. This is the thing that was striking to me. We do a lot of glass cocktail tables. Well, if you have trouble differentiating,
Bad idea.
it's not a good
Right,
thing,
right,
right? But
right,
who would ever think of that,
Right,
So,
right.
so that sort of thing. So yeah,
wow.
it's very interesting.
I would think that would be wonderful for South Florida. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
That's really one of the best things about what we do is we get to identify all these things about people's lives. There's a big trend right now from people moving from the west to the east. They want to live in a condo where they can walk around Meisner, and you get to find out why. Like, what is it about their life that they're trying to achieve in their life? And there's so many things that people, and so many people who have similarities in what they're trying to do with their life. And we get to experience that every day, and we get to help them kind of get there.
Right. And I know, people that are downsizing or they're a little bit older and they're buying homes, I know they want everything on the first floor.
Yes.
My house has 2 stories. I'm just going to have to stay in shape because I can't afford to.
I think there's something to be said for 2 stories.
I'm with you. I had the 2-story, and I said, and never again.
Well, we could get those little things that you write up the.
Yeah, but there's
Oh gosh, never that, never that.
Is there a new one that looks better?
no,
I don't think so.
It's called an elevator.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
there's a big
Like, I'll
part,
put an elevator in my house.
a big part of that is and I've done this so many times when I was practicing, is having that conversation in a very comfortable, non-intimidating,
Right,
threatening
because
way.
I know people
Yeah,
now that
we're-
are building homes
right.
taking in mind that they're going to stay there another
Sure.
30 years. They don't want to leave. So you
be-
have to plan for that.
That's
That's
correct.
right.
And
Yeah.
you have to listen very carefully because they have to make a disconnect. And making that disconnect's a transition that they have to go through step by step. You may walk in and say, this all has to go. But I always said, why do you have to say that? As you work with your client and you're developing their new space, it almost happens organically. They're going to realize as they start to see all this pretty new stuff that when they put it all in with what they want to keep, all of a sudden they're coming back and they're going,
What they want to keep has to
and
go.
you already knew that. In
Right,
that,
right,
as
right.
a
Yeah.
designer,
No,
you
exactly.
already
I understand
know
what
that.
you're saying.
But you don't want to really tell
Right.
them what to do. You have to, it's almost like being a coach. You're coaching them through step by step and realizing that they're going through a lot of mental processes while they're doing that. And I've had to do it personally myself, as we transition and if you have children and they're getting older and they're gone and now you're by yourself, you all go through these stages in life. And the more compassionate you are to understanding that this is lifestyle.
I
you
helped
know,
my
we went
mother after my father died a few years ago. They had a very big house and moved her into a small condo, and we had to sell everything that they had amassed over 30 years in that house. And
right.
it's very traumatic.
It is.
for someone to move.
You have
so,
to acknowledge it because it's real, and you have to have a lot of patience.
One of the other big trends that we see are the people who are doing 2 master suites. So a lot of people are moving
So what's
parents
that?
into their home. So there's a master suite for the whoever owns the
correct.
house, and
Big
then
time.
for the parents,
That's
which are
wonderful.
beautiful. I mean, and so it's and usually on the ground floor. So there is so much thought that's put into all of it based on the needs of what the population's going through right now.
Sure.
So it's very interesting work because you get to experience all this with people, and I think it's the best
The
part.
double master is actually a huge thing for builders today. You're seeing it over and over
that would
again.
be good also for when you have guests.
It's
Yes.
good for
Put them
guests.
away from you and they got their own part of the house.
You have a partner that might
Especially
snore.
married
You have
people.
someone that has a different sleep schedule, that someone's working this hour and this hour. And it makes it a really nice way for them to still live together, cohabitate, and understand that they just have to
Have your own
accommodate
space.
differences. That's correct.
And here, if people are going to vacation together, so if eventually you're going to try to do it as an investment property, and people vacation as families, so there's all
Sure.
kinds of different aspects to it.
Right.
But it's a huge trend, and we do it every day. So yeah.
That's interesting.
Here's another little tip. I was talking to a builder the other day who had a 2-story house and having a difficult time in selling the house. And I looked at him and I said, the master's upstairs, but you have to realize, as you want to romance the master, yes, it has a gorgeous view. You should have a refrigerator up there. You should have a little area where they can get something to munch on at night so they don't have to go up and down the stairs if the home doesn't have an elevator. So you create that.
your coffee up there in the morning?
That's
Coffee
correct.
machine.
You create
Very
coffee. Exactly. You create that space so that, I really love the location of this home. I really love this about the house, the way the space flows. But that master's upstairs. Well, what if the designer came
People
in and
really worry about that.
Yeah,
Of course,
What if the
yeah.
designer came in and said, "I'll tell you what. You know what? We'll create that whole space to work for you, so you can enjoy it and have that beautiful view out that master bedroom." And then we've just sold the home for for the builder and for the
Right.
the buyer. Yeah,
Wow, I
So,
never
yeah.
even thought that much about design as far as selling a home.
big important.
You were also talking about some incentive for realtors where if they
Yeah, I like to speak to the real estate offices and develop these relationships with real estate agents because it's an incentive program where we just help them with a gift that comes from them. It's not from Clive Daniel.
Right.
It really is a gift from the realtor to have their buyer feel welcome at Clive Daniel.
so they
Home.
give the
the realtor
buyer a
will give
gift
the
when-
buyer a gift. Mm-hmm.
that's fantastic.
And it's a nice, welcoming way, and it's a way for us to get to know the realtors in town and have them feel comfortable. We want to be the go-to place. We have this wonderful little area upstairs. It's called a little cafe, and in the cafe you can go in there and
Cappuccino.
you can
I
get your
come in there for
cappuccino. Right, you can get your little cup of coffee. And I always say, come in with your partner. If they don't want to shop and walk the store, it's a big place.
Oh, I would
Go
recommend
up
just
there,
going in there,
sit up there, have a little
wandering
treat,
around, taking a
have
look
a little
at everything.
bite, have a little cup of coffee, and let your significant other run around the store and have a good time, do your computer work, and then they'll come find you when they want you.
Right.
It's
very
a
nice.
beautiful spot. It's right outside our gift gallery, which is terrific.
Talk about the gift gallery
Oh, the gift
briefly.
gallery is the best.
You don't have to go in there and spend a ton of money. They have a gift gallery.
Dana calls it the lost leader, but it's just so funny. But it really is beautiful.
Yes.
You tell them
Yes,
about
well, we
it.
have we carry the
Yeah.
the known people. We carry Michael Aram, but we have linens and we have crazy books and
and little accent things.
We
and-
have skulls. We have skull candles right now. Well, don't know why. So I was like, and they're in different colors, which is kind of crazy.
I walked in there, I saw those, I was like,
So see, if someone wants to get a gift for somebody, go there.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
have everything, beautiful things.
Well, I tell you, we had Chanel trash cans. We cannot keep them in stock.
Yes.
I want one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, everybody in Boca wants one.
Chanel-
I don't have any
A
more.
Chanel trash can.
Chanel trash cans.
Oh my God.
So,
They ran
you
out
know,
of there.
all
I never
kinds
even
of
got a
things.
chance
didn't
to
get
get
one?
like, they ran out.
Yeah. And Hermes did not do as well, but the Chanel was all the rage.
Wow.
But we carry all different kinds of things, and they're very creative. Daniel Lubner's wife Kathy buys for the boutique, and she's very good at it.
So if somebody doesn't want to redecorate their home, they can just go in there and get some pieces too.
Well, an
Definitely.
interesting thing that we do is we do these programs for, I book a lot of the events that we have for various women's groups in various developments, and the schedule gets pretty tight. We have our designers do a program for them, and one of the programs that we've done was a design double take where we took them into an area of the showroom and we showed how here's your basic pieces, and 3 different times we changed out accessories, an area rug, a piece of art, and it looked like a completely different
Oh, my
space.
goodness.
And they were just watching in just sheer amazement, And so we do these programs so that we are able to introduce them to Clive Daniel in a way that they might not really even know.
Sure.
And then we also do a lot of nonprofit events. That's a very big deal for me. When I joined Clive Daniel, one of the things that really mattered a lot to me was, as busy as I've always been doing my work, it was about appealing to the nonprofit community.
Okay, we're going to start to wrap up here. So tell us the address of Clive
It's
Daniel.
1351 Northwest Boca Raton Boulevard in Boca Raton, Florida.
But if you live in Boca Raton, the easiest way to describe it is on the corner of Glades Road and
Northwest 2nd, which is Boca Raton Boulevard, it's the northwest corner, the large white building.
Yes,
on
the
north
large
you
white
can't miss it. I mean, it's magnificent. It's huge.
beautiful building. It's Daniel's baby.
Yeah, and at night it just
It
is
glows.
stunning at night.
Yeah,
with
and
the
I'd like
lighting.
to meet Clive and Daniel at some point, and maybe they'll come to the party.
Well, they're at furniture market, so they're
Okay.
buying us more stuff. So maybe the next time. I don't think that they'll be here back in time for.
Well,
the
we'll have
party.
them on here to tell.
But they're
them.
very engaging. You'd really
Yeah,
like
I'm
them.
sure you'd enjoy
Yeah,
it
they're a lot
because
of
I love
fun.
their store. I love their store. Okay, well, thank you very much, and I'll see you both next Thursday night.
Looking
be
forward
there.
to it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was so much
Thank
fun.
you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You have been watching and listening to The Becky and Boca Show. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. to discover all the ways to spoil yourself and have a good time in beautiful Boca Raton. See you next week.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of